Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we are back with another TBR wheel video, and arguably these are the best video of the month. There's something so refreshing to me about picking the next batch of books that I get to read, and I don't know, I feel like at the end of every month I kind of get not sick of my previous TBR, but I'm itching for more options. And so now we're going into September, and September to me feels like a very transitional month. We are starting to leave summer in the past. We are entering into fall. And I think that's definitely reflected in my TBR wheel options. But real quick, let me show you guys something. Right here is my entire physical TBR. Yes, you may be thinking, what? You only have 7 books left on your physical TBR? And to that, I would say yes. And I'm very proud, but at the same time, these are the books that I have not felt inclined to pick up at all. To be fair, this book is new. I just got this as a gift. But the rest are books that I have not been wanting to read for one reason or another. Don't know why I'm putting them off, I really don't. So some of these are in the TBR wheel and will be options for the month, but the rest, I couldn't be bothered. I could not be bothered. So hype me up in the comments if there's any books in that stack that you guys really liked so I can start feeling some motivation to finish my physical TBR. And without further ado, let's jump into the September TBR wheel. Most of you guys already know how this works, but for anyone that's new here, this is the TBR wheel. I'm gonna be spinning for 5 books to read in the month of September. And any books that you see in this wheel that are not in my physical TBR stack are either books I've already read and own and I want to read them again. They are ready to be checked out from my library or they're Kindle Unlimited. So we're using all our options here, okay? And I think that's all I have to say for this intro. Potentially longest intro I've ever done. So yeah, we're gonna spin, and I don't know, I'll just see what it chooses and then I'll get chatty again. Bum, 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 bum. The first book that the TBR wheel has chosen is Animal Farm by George Orwell. And what I was gonna say before is I was talking about how September is kind of this transitional month of the year. And so in the TBR wheel, I've included classics, which literally one was just selected right now, which is wonderful. Classics, fantasy, like cozy, darker feeling books. There's a mystery in here. There is some romance. And I feel like at the beginning of September, I'm still totally fine with reading light, fluffy romances. But as we transition further into the month, I'm gonna want more of that darker, cozier, mystery, fantasy classics vibe. So yeah. Okay, back to what we have selected, which is Animal Farm. I read my first George Orwell book last month, I wanna say. 2 months ago, I read 1984 by this author, and I really enjoyed it more than I thought I was going to. And so I have been wanting to pick up Animal Farm, and newsflash, this book is so short, so this feels like a realistic possibility. And classics are almost always available at the library, so I do not own this one, but I will be checking it out. So book number 1, Animal Farm by George Orwell. Let us spin for book number 2. If you guys could pick any book in this TBR wheel, I'm curious what it would be. Because I definitely have some favorites that I want to read. Red Rising. Okay, guys. Book number 2 that the TBR wheel has chosen is Red Rising by Pierce Brown. This is sci-fi, and we've had something kind of funny happen. Again, if you guys watched last month's video, I had Killers of the Flower Moon got chosen, and I was already listening to that audiobook when it got chosen, and that is what has just happened again in this month's video. Yay. I am actually already listening to the audiobook for Red Rising. I've started it, but I am nowhere near the end. And it's one of those books that I feel like I'll enjoy it even more physically. And so what I'm hoping to do is find a physical copy of this book and switch over from the audio. So I have started Red Rising, but I'm very happy when books that I've already started get chosen for my TBR, because it feels even more like a realistic possibility. And this is my channel, so it's not cheating. It is not cheating. If the book gets picked and I finish it during that month, it counts. This is a win, and for anyone wondering, I am definitely enjoying Red Rising so far. But again, I'm not very far into it. That now means that we have a classic selected and a sci-fi book selected. I think I'm gonna put out some romance vibes because I really would love to read Part of Your World by Abby Jimenez or reread Beach Read by Emily Henry. And I was hoping to read those books in August, but didn't happen because they weren't on the August TBR. So let's go for it. We're gonna spin, and I'm gonna hope that the TBR wheel does what I want, and then I'm not gonna complain if it chooses something else. Should I look? Should I look? I'm gonna look. Oh my gosh, this book has been in the TBR wheel for months, like actual, literal, real months. So the next book that the wheel has chosen for the month of September is actually a nonfiction book. And this book is called The Ultimate, let me check, it kind of has a long title. It's called The Ultimate Guide to Planning Your Personal Finances. And yeah, nonfiction, this might bore some of you, but hi, I actually love personal finance. I find it very interesting and very important and often undervalued. As like a young woman, I feel like more young women should be talking about this. And so this is a book that I've been wanting to read for a while, but literally for so long, the TBR wheel just wasn't picking it. And so now I have a guide to personal finance. This book is more of an introduction, and I like to think that I have a pretty good grasp on this topic already. So I'm not sure how much new information I'll be taking away from it, but I still think it's an important read nonetheless, and there's no reason not to refresh some of the essentials. So if anyone's looking for a place to start in personal finance, getting your budget together, your priorities together, go check out this book. Again, it's called The Ultimate Guide to Planning Your Personal Finances. Wow, okay, the genres are just continuing to be different from each other. We now have, is that gonna get annoying if I keep saying it? I'm gonna keep saying it. We now have a sci-fi, a classic, and a nonfiction. We're gonna spin for one more. Let's see if we can keep up the genres. I am gonna say most of the books I really want to read are still in this wheel, and I don't think any of the physical TBR has been chosen. No, I'm looking at it, nothing has been chosen there. I was hoping that this video would help me get down my physical TBR, would help me decrease it, but it's looking less and less like that is gonna happen. So, oh my gosh, this is on my physical TBR. The House of Mirth by Edith Wharton. Not gonna lie to you guys, the selections this month aren't really hyping me up that much, but that's okay. That is okay. So the next book that we have selected for the month of September is The House of Mirth by Edith Wharton. This is another classic, and it's a classic that I own, so I need to make this a priority. This book has been selected in previous TBR Reel videos before, and I think it just ended up being one of the books that I wanted to read, but just by the end of the month, I hadn't gotten to it yet. And so it was kind of forced into another month. And so the plot of this story actually really, really interests me. It follows our main character, Lily Bart. It says right here that she realizes that a secure future depends on her acquiring a wealthy husband. And it's all about New York's aristocracy and the values in the very early 1900s. I know that for certain. And so everything about this book sounds really interesting. I think just as I think a lot of people relate to, sometimes the writing of classics, it's not that it necessarily intimidates me, it's just I'm curious how much I'll connect with the writing. I think I tend to really enjoy classics, but I don't always emotionally connect with them. And so, yeah, I'm not really intimidated by this, but I'm curious how much I'm going to like it. So yay, besties, we have one book from the physical TBR that has been chosen. And on the one hand, I want more books from the physical TBR to be chosen, but on the other hand, I'm like, I have been putting them off for a while. That's why they're the only ones left. And I'm kind of down to just keep doing that. So we are gonna spin for our fifth and final book today. And again, a lot of the books that I wanted to read are still in the wheel. So that's always heartbreaking, tragic, devastating. Magnolia Parks by Jessa Hastings. This is another book on my physical TBR that I haven't been putting this off for that long. I didn't buy this that long ago, and you guys have been commenting that I need to read this. I just feel like I am not going to be the same person after I read this book. I don't know why I have that feeling. I don't usually feel that way about books, but I have this gut feeling that once I start the series, it's going to be the beginning of the end. So yeah, and this is fun too. I really wanted a romance going into September. I still feel like I haven't gotten my summer romance fill out of the summer. Like the last few books, that's all that I've been reading. I think because I'm just trying to get through all of my summer romance TBR. And also I moved recently, and I feel like romances are very happy. They're very comforting during this time of transition, if that makes sense. Like everything is gonna be good in a romance book and happy generally. I don't think this follows that, but I think you know what I mean. So assuming I do read every single book on the September TBR, which I have done before, thank you very much. So it is a possibility. I will only have 5 books left on my physical TBR at the end of the month if I don't buy any more books, which once we start getting this low, I start to get tempted. Okay, besties, let's go through the official September TBR real quick. The first book that we have selected is Animal Farm by George Orwell. This is a classic on the shorter side, which I am not mad about at all. And I'm excited to read my next book by this author. Then the next book that we have chosen, I'm already forgetting. The next book that we have chosen is Red Rising by Pierce Brown. This is a sci-fi book that I have actually already started the audiobook for. Wins all around. I'm so happy about that, and I'm curious to see what the hype is all about with this book. Then the next book that we have chosen, let's do the ones I don't own first. The next book is The Ultimate Guide to Your Personal Finances. This book is on Kindle Unlimited, and love a good nonfiction throughout the year. So I'm excited for a good little refresher on personal finance and budgeting and all of that good stuff. And then finally, we have the 2 books that were selected from my physical TBR. The first one being The House of Mirth by Edith Wharton, another classic. So we have 2 classics for the month of September, which honestly, I feel like September does kind of give classic energy. So maybe that's just me, but I'm pretty pumped. We have The House of Mirth, and then lastly, we have, that does nothing for you. Lastly, we have Magnolia Parks by Jessa Hastings. I'm so excited, and I feel like this is gonna be the vibe change that I need for this month's reading. And of course, I just wanted to give a shout out to some of my beautiful, lovely subscribers. I do this on every single video because I just love you guys so much, and this channel would be way less fun without our conversations in the comments. First up, I want to give a shout out to @caffeinated_reader, who always comments on my videos, and it is the sweetest thing ever. And she was saying how The Nightingale and Yours Truly are 2 of her infinity star reads, and tell me why I want to read both of these so badly. But the TBR wheel seems to be against me, so hopefully I will read Yours Truly very, very soon. And The Nightingale, I think I'm just intimidated by the sadness that comes along with that book, to be so honest with you. And then next, I wanted to give a shout out to @BooksandTea, who basically said if I love Taylor Jenkins Reid, I need to read Carrie Soto Is Back, which why don't I own this book yet? I want to read this so stinking badly, and I feel like you kind of just read my mind right there. So, okay, you guys, I think that's it for me. If you guys made it all the way to the end of this video, comment down below the fall leaves emoji, so I know who made it all the way to the end. And that's it from me. I hope you guys are having a great day and a great reading month, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!